Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk a little bit about phones, about technology and that kind of thing, and why I generally go for the cheapest sort of thing rather than going for the most expensive sort of thing. So I've got a Moto G31 or something like that, I'm not sure what it is. It looks like this. It's got this kind of neat sort of iridescent blue, although the iridescence is kind of faded. Cracks all over it, if you can see them. Turn off. You can see all the cracks on it, right? I've had this for nearly 2 years. I want to get it to at least a 2-year mark, right? And I spent 120 quid on it. Now, I could have spent £500 on, you know, the latest Samsung or whatever. I could have spent £300 and gotten a decent Sony sort of, is it Xperia or whatever they have? I could have got something like that. I could have invested like, you know, 1,200 quid into getting the newest iPhone, and yet I didn't do any of that. Now, why didn't I do that? There's a few reasons for that. The first one is safety, right? So if I'm walking along, right, and because in London there's phone snatchers and stuff where if you're on your phone and you're at the side of the road, someone will just yoink and they take it, right? I don't really want that to happen to me full stop, but if it were to happen, I would much rather they get away with a 120 quid phone that is now probably worth about, what, 15 quid with all the cracks on it, right? I'd much rather they get that, right, than get my £1,200 smartphone, right? Like iPhone or whatever, the latest, greatest thing with all the new 4K cameras and, you know, crazy OLED screens and whatever the hell they have, like quad-core chips or something. I don't know what they have, right, that makes them so expensive. And that's kind of the second reason, is that I don't really see what these phones can do that my phone can't. So, I mean, it's not that I haven't used other people's more expensive phones and sort of seen how they use their phone and go, oh, wow, that is quite useful, and that kind of thing. And there have been times where someone has shown me their new phone and it's technology that has just blown me the hell away, right? I remember being at this networking event about 3 weeks ago, right? And I got talking to this lad, and he had some like proper kitted out phone from the future, right? And he was showing me the camera on it, and he just zoomed in and in and in to someone that was way on the other side of the room. And I'm talking, it was a big room, bigger than this in here, like 5 times the size of this, right? He zoomed right in onto their face, onto their nostrils, right? He got that close in without even really losing any quality, because that was all optical zoom, or it was making use of, like, because you know how some of these phones have like 8 lenses on here. Mine's got 3. Mine has a 0.5 width, whatever that means. It's got a 1x width, whatever that means. It's just a bit closer in, like as a focal thing. And then there's one here that's like a macro, and they're all fine. They all take pictures. Like, whenever you're taking a picture on a phone, it's kind of just for the sake of, you know, sending something that you need to send someone. Like, I don't know, you're selling something on Facebook and you need to take a picture of it. Well, there you are, quick picture of it, right? Yeah, I could get a big iPhone that could get like almost professional quality looking things out of it. But then it returns back to the first point of safety. I don't really want to have to deal with that. I don't want to have to deal with someone coming along and just going, oh, I'll have that, mine, right? There you are, 1,200 quid. Also, with these big expensive phones, you kind of need to have like contents insurance on them. You need to have like phone insurance, whatever it's called. I've never had phone insurance in my life because I just get cheap phones that mean nothing if I lose them, right? So, you know, I don't know how much phone insurance is. It looks like it's like £5, £6, £7 a month, right? But that's an extra 5, you know, every year that's an extra like 60, 70 quid, right? And this phone is 2 years old and costs 120 quid. So the insurance alone costs this. And if I just don't have any insurance and then break it or lose it or whatever, then I just get a new one, right? So I'm working out in a profit compared to if I was to buy a big expensive phone and have the insurance. And yeah, I could have more apps on it. I could have more space. This has 128 gigs of space on it, and I am often running out. Usually, because I do the audio recordings on this, right? So I upload them to Google Drive and then have to kind of delete them afterwards. Whenever I do lots of video on my phone, I can't keep it on for very long. I can't download too much stuff. I can't really download like films or videos onto my phone or whatever. But, you know, I don't really mind. I'm not missing out on much. I don't feel like I'm losing out because I don't have the latest and greatest bit of equipment. My headphones as well, I've got these, which I don't even know what they are, right? They're in a knot, right? One of them doesn't even have the bud on it. One of them does, right? But to me, it doesn't really matter. They go in your ears, right? And then it plugs in. That's another thing. I've got a headphone jack, right? You see it plugging in there, right? I've got a headphone jack. with TRRS or whatever it is that connects to microphones and makes this happen. So if I was on an iPhone, I'd have to buy that little dongle. I have bought one of those dongles so that when I'm doing filming and stuff with people that have iPhones, I can just straight away just clip it in and just make it work, right? But I don't need that for this phone. I don't need anything like that. And it just generally does the job. Also, what's really good about this phone, I sound like I'm just shilling for Motorola now, which is owned by Google, so I sound like I'm just shilling for Google on a Google platform. So yeah, a bit irritating. But anyway, it's got like really good battery. It's got like something like 5,000 mAh. Is that milliamps per hour or something like that? I can't remember what it stands for, but it basically means there's a hell of a lot of battery. If I'm not using it too much, it can last for 2 days. So I charge it overnight on Monday, and then Monday and Tuesday it's fine, and then I charge it overnight from Tuesday to Wednesday, right? And that's fine, right? And also, a good thing about having a phone that is really cheap that I don't have to care about is you're not meant to really charge stuff overnight because it can lead to like electrical overload or whatever, and there's a little setting that stops it from happening on this. But either way, they tell you not to charge overnight. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about taking a charger with me everywhere I go so I can charge it in a cafe or charge it at a friend's house or charge it on those little things on the bus. I don't have to do that. I don't have to constantly worry about the charge on this. I've taken this out, right, on a night out when it's had like 23%, and I get back and it's got 2%, right? And that works out for me. I'm not sitting there worrying about it. So the fact that it had that, that's why I've stuck with Motorola this whole, like ever since I got smartphones in 2016. I've always had Motorola's, and I plan to, as long as they remain this good with regard to the battery life and that kind of thing. So that, and then the headphones, you know, sure, they don't have the best preamps or bass adjuster, EQ, whatever's on them, right? The music doesn't sound like it's coming out of a fucking live orchestra from this, but it still sounds fine. It sounds like the music I like. I like the music I like, and I like it playing in my ears, right? I'm not precious about it. I'm not like an audiophile. I'm not someone that goes, oh, well, it's only being rendered at 44,000 MHz or whatever. I want it rendered at 96,000. So I don't care, right? Do you notice that? Do you notice the immense amount of difference between 44,000 and 96,000? In terms of just a sheer number, yeah, there is a big difference. But when it comes to the actual quality of the sound in your ears, in terms of what your ears perceive, I don't hear anything. I don't hear a difference, right? Sure, maybe if I sat down and did a test and comparison, I could figure out, oh yeah, this one actually does sound better, right? I could do that, but what's the point? Because I can just go around, and these cost like 10 quid. And when I break these, I'll get another set for 10 quid. They don't matter, right? They're fine. Why would I spend like 400 quid on a pair of headphones when this does the job, right? And it's not like those £400 headphones are 40 times better than these £10 headphones. They're just not. They're 5 times better, right? I don't see why I need to spend an extra 40 times the amount of money to get something that's 5 times better. I have just made those numbers up, by the way. And yeah, I'm not super precious about these kind of things, because the reason is, I feel like part of it as well, especially with this channel, is that it kind of proves that you don't need the latest and greatest equipment. Like, this camera is like 12 years old. This phone is like, I bought it 2 years ago, but it's like a 4-year-old phone. These headphones I've had for about 3 years now, and they still are going strong. I just need to get a new bud to put in this, because it is a little bit uncomfortable. They just disappear. I know you can get the ones that don't have the buds that just like go in like that and they kind of hang off your ear, but my ears don't fit for them. They don't work in my ears. I don't know why, but maybe it's just a personal thing. They just don't work for me. Having it in like that, oh, it's awful. I hate it. I really don't like it. And yeah, that's kind of it really, is that I don't get all the latest and greatest stuff because, one, the safety sort of thing. I don't have to worry about it like that much if it gets lost or damaged or whatever. I can just go, oh, great. It's annoying, right? But it's not like the end of the world. And then I have to think about, oh, that's like 1,200 quid gone, or, oh yeah, but I did get the contents phone insurance, and that's even more money I've been spending. So yeah, I get it back from that. And I don't see the value in it for me. For me, right, and that's, I think, the thing I want to make clear is that I'm not judging people that do it differently from me. I'm not saying, oh, you need to do it this way, you need to get cheap shit because you're not a good enough person if you're, you think you're too good for this stuff. I'm not trying to say any of that. I'm just trying to show you my perspective, why I go for the stuff that I go for, why I'm not super precious about, you know, the specs of my phone or the specs of my fucking audio receivers from this. I have got a pair of better headphones at home, like Sony studio headphones. You see them on like KEXP and like Tiny Desk concerts and stuff and like podcasts. I see them wearing my headphones. I always like that. It's always like, ooh, cool, they're wearing my headphones. The only reason I have those is because they don't have any like, in-ear compression, EQ, or audio adjustment of any kind, right? It's just pretty much the raw audio, as close to raw audio as you can really get, which is useful for audio engineering and like, you know, EQing yourself and that kind of thing. They're not very good for just listening to music casually. They're fine for podcasts and stuff, but they're not very good for listening to music casually because you kind of hear a lot of the flaws in the production. Even on like really good albums, you start to hear like little hisses and like clicks and stuff. But that's part of what, you know, not everything is perfect. Everything is sort of slightly imperfect and it's been polished over by, you know, various processes that we kind of have to make everything seem more professional than it really is, right? And yeah, that's it really. I get this stuff because it works for me. I don't feel like I'm losing out on having, you know, more expensive stuff. I don't feel like I'm falling behind in any regard in the technological fucking race to the bottom. I don't, you know, I'm not worried about it. It's just a phone. It's just some headphones. It's, you know, just a camera, right? And it's a good camera. It's you know, when it came out, it was like 12 grand, but now it's only like, you can get one of these for like 400, 500 quid now. I got mine for 600, but it's like, it's 4 years old at this point. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching this one. Leave your comments in the thing below about what kind of phone do you have? What kind of headphones do you have? Do you kind of get where I'm coming from with this whole getting the cheap stuff sort of thing? Or do you think that I am perhaps missing out and that, you know, I could get a hell of a lot of use out of a more expensive phone or a more expensive laptop or a more expensive set of headphones? And if you do think that, let me know what kind of benefits do come with that are kind of like, you know, slice of life sort of tiny little useful conveniences for your life rather than, you know, specs and stuff. Because, you know, if I wanted to buy a chart spreadsheet, I would buy a chart spreadsheet. I wouldn't go and buy a phone just because it's got like number 833 rather than number 712. And yeah, that's about it from me. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Ow.